Good morning, Bronzo. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're watching this feed. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Frankie Olivo. Our program focuses on very important issues that are affecting our local community. We have shed light on injustices and we've allowed for our platform, this mic, to be that of the voice of the people. Now, if this is something you can see yourself supporting, well, we ask that you join the cause. Make sure that you like all of our social media platforms. Currently, right now, this live program is being streamed on X, formerly known as Twitter, and on Facebook. We could be found under Frankie Olivo. Make sure you follow our personal page on Face. We could be found under Olivo Frankie. But more importantly, if you haven't already, create a Gmail account, go to YouTube, like, follow, and subscribe to our channel titled Frankie Olivo TV. It's free. Remember, I will never ask you for money. I will never ask my community for food. Well, depends what you're making. All I ask of my community is something very simple. Would you like for us to continue to provide you with the latest information that is happening in South Texas, Cameron County? Well, make sure that you support the cause. Make sure that you subscribe to all of our social media platforms. As of late, our Facebook page is at risk of being taken down. The powers that be do not want you, the voter, to know the truth. Remember, we will not be silenced. So if you're really about the cause and you want to stand up to corruption and you want to hold our elected leaders and those in leadership positions accountable, well, you know what to do. Make sure you subscribe to all of our social media platforms. But more importantly, subscribe to YouTube TV. We could be found under Frankie Olivo TV. Remember, Good Morning Brownsville will come on Monday through Friday at 9 a.m., sometimes a little bit after, religiously. Always remember, we will not be silenced, and we are forever grateful to each and every one of you for the time and attention that you provide us. Thank you so much for that. How we doing, chat? How we doing? Happy New Year. How does it feel to be back to reality? It's great. It's great to be back in the studio. For a few weeks, I was coming on live, and I was away from the office. And as they say, it's always great to be home. There's no place like home. Being away from the studio for myself was a bit awkward, but nonetheless, as we've always said, the show must go on. Yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, I was eating at Vermilion, and somebody stopped me, and they said, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know, I wanted to introduce myself, and we have previously spoken before through social media, and it's good to talk to people, to residents within the city of Brownsville. We exchanged pleasantries, and the beautiful thing about this program, ladies and gentlemen, is that we talk about what's most important to us here locally. I pride myself in providing you with all the latest information here within the city of Brownsville. We hope that you use this information for good. So it was good to run into a friend, just to know each other, I guess, and hopefully this would be the first of many times where we'll be able to meet up and just talk about life. I think that's the beauty of yesterday's encounter. Today, January 6th, many important things are set for today. Today is Los Reyes Magos. Officially, it depends. If you're a Mexican, today is the last cheat day. Today, ladies and gentlemen, everyone has or partakes in La Rosca. It is a festive where a crown-shaped sweetbread is eaten, and it symbolizes the three magicians, the three wise men, the three kings day, where they visited baby Jesus, and it's symbolic for several reasons. Mainly, it's to remember the day, the wreath of the kings, as tradition remembers it, and us, we celebrate it. And whoever finds the baby is ultimately the one responsible for providing tamales a month later. So I'm sure we will all partake in La Rosca, in eating. And again, today will be our last cheat day, we hope. What else? What else is January 6th known for? If you are a patriot, if you follow politics, January 6th primarily is known for the 2021 attack on the United States Capitol. And this was in regards to the certification of the 2020 election, which is and has been and will go down in history as a significant event in American history. What happened was that there was a riot, a mob that stormed the United States Capitol as Congress was meeting to certify the Electoral College. The goal ultimately was to overturn the election results. January 20th, after the elections for the presidency, is a day where it's the transfer of power from one administration to the next. What happened on January 6th was very daunting for the history of the United States. There were death, if not deaths, plural. There were multiple injuries to law enforcement officials. One thing that we noticed throughout time and what we have found has been, and what we can conclude is that January 6th ultimately was a day in which Democrats wanted to make sure that President Trump will never reach the presidency again. It is rumored that the National Guard wasn't deployed on purpose, that it is rumored that there was FBI agents in that mob that ultimately led to riots. They were the instigators for that. We will talk about that a little bit more tomorrow and for the weeks to come. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we are 60 days away from today, January 6th. We are 60 days away from Election Day. And if you've been following our program at Good Morning Browns, we made a promise that from here till Election Day, we will be covering these important races, because ultimately these leaders that we elect into office are going to ultimately shape our community here in Cameron County. Whenever we talk about electing the right candidate, and again, we don't have the perfect candidate, right? We don't have the perfect party, but we hope that through the course of these next 2 months, you will tune in and we will talk about each and every race out there. We want you to get to know the candidates. Heck, invitation will be given to the candidates themselves. We want this platform to be their microphone. We want you, the constituents, to be able to come on and ask these candidates, to hear from these candidates themselves. And if you have any questions, any concerns, well, you have a platform in which you can use to get better information. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about a little bit about what we posted yesterday, because it's very important for us as constituents to ask these tough questions. For today's program, we titled it, "Is Cameron County Up for Sale?" And that is how we will start today's program. Thank you so much for tuning in, Brownsville. But first, a word from our sponsor.
I've dedicated my life to public service, but now I see a county that's ready for change. It's time to bring accountability, transparency, and efficiency to how your tax dollars are managed. We can lower taxes and make government work smarter for you. I'm Jonathan Gracia, and I humbly ask for your vote for Cameron County Treasurer, so together we can build a better future.
Whenever we talk about electing the right candidate, it's very important, because these leaders, ultimately what they will be promising us is the responsibility of putting the needs of the people above everything. Whenever leaders sell themselves out for money, for power, for outside influence. Ultimately, what happens is trust in the government weakens, and decisions are often made that harm the community rather than help them. What we need to do is look for leaders that work to protect public resources, to uphold the law fairly, to make choices based on long term benefits instead of short term rewards. By choosing these leaders who are accountable and committed to serving others, citizens ultimately help create a system that is more fair, stable, and focused on common goods. Now, before we start today's program, yesterday we posted and asked the question: is Cameron County up for sale? And we all know of the image, the black eye, the dark cloud that has loomed the area, the Rio Grande Valley, for far too long. Cameron County, as we all know, has had a documented history of corruption. Politicians, ranging from sheriffs, judges, commissioners, and state representatives. And these individuals have been convicted, charged with bribery, extortion, election fraud, politiqueras over the years. And this has involved major federal investigations by the three-letter agencies that have targeted widespread bribery and manipulation of the justice system and elections here in the Rio Grande Valley. We focused on yesterday. We focused and posted this this picture of three candidates that will be asking for your vote. I happen to know two of them. My job before you isn't to be biased. I want you to use this platform. I want you to tune in because we are going to give you the black and the white. We're going to stay away from the gray area. We hope that our community understands that we have a great responsibility to say it how it is. Ultimately, you, the voter, you, the constituent, will make that decision at the ballot box. If you've been following our program, we don't want to convince nobody. That is not my job. Think of this as a relationship. Do you want a spouse, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a husband, wife, a Sancho, a Sancha that is with you by force? That you have no option? I personally want to be with somebody that wants to be with me wholeheartedly. I want them to feel as if I am the best option for them. In a perfect world, right? I understand that if ever I lie to you, if I throw out information that is not accurate, that is not truthful, you will find out. And like any relationship, it will cause a strain between us. That's the last thing I want between you and I. I want you to come on to learn about what is happening. At the end of the day, this program is about educating, about raising awareness, about shedding light on misunderstandings. Whenever we talk about a county judge, whenever we talk about a state district judge, those are very important races. Those are very important positions. Ultimately, these individuals will have a direct impact within our community. I received some criticism yesterday and said, oh, well, you're biased and we're going to choose for our people. Understand that there is this notion, a proven idea, that corruption runs rampant within our area. Tony Zavaleta, professor and TSC board member, once stated that the Rio Grande Valley doesn't need corruption, we demand it. It is a culture that unfortunately has integrated politics. We can make the argument that maybe being a border city, that politics south of the river in Mexico have jumped across the pond, and corruption is just inbred in us. It is something that we have accepted. If you are okay with questionable characters, if you are okay with individuals that have been accused, that have been investigated into very serious matters, there's nothing I can tell you. Ultimately, you have to live with that. It's important for us to ask the important question. Yesterday, I spoke with somebody, and they said, oh, I was talking to my brother, and they said, oh, what have you done for me lately? And they were talking about politics, right? And they're talking about the different candidates. And then he said, hey, chill out, Frankie. But that's a very important thing that we should ask those running for office. And look, ladies and gentlemen, I don't do this to spite people. That's not my job. I don't target people. I don't focus on people and try to bash them. That's not my job. Again, I have a responsibility to you. Because yes, us that are in the political world, us that read the blogs, us that are nerds that are constantly following these individuals, we know of what's going on. We hear about things that are going on. But does the average voter, does the average citizen, are they aware of what's going on? I would dare say no. Now, whatever you decide, whoever you support, you have every right to. And it seems as if politics is a lot like religion. When we think about Christians, Catholicism, Protestants, Pentecostals, they're very zealous of their religion. And each religion thinks that they are the right one, that they are the best religion out there. And they're trying to convince you to join them, to believe in them. I love those people because they're very passionate. They feel as if they have a duty to tell you this is the right candidate moving forward. By talking about these races, ladies and gentlemen, from here till March the 6th, we hope to shed light on what is happening. Because ultimately, what's going to happen is that these races, these individuals will be having a direct impact within our lives. And it's very important for us to recognize this. So, buckle up, Brownsville. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're a regular, it's going to get a lot interesting, and we're going to have a lot of fun because the moment of truth is here. Whenever we talk about politics, this is the fourth quarter. Less than 60 days away, the candidates are vying for your vote. They are trying to convince you that you need to vote for them, that they are the best candidate out there. Whenever these individuals run for public office, they are susceptible to criticism. This isn't the student council in elementary, where, hey, you got to keep it clean. Everybody's a winner here. No. Thousands of dollars, millions of dollars are on the line for these people. They're going to be investing for these jobs, for these positions. When we talk about a county judge, they make over six figures. Whenever we talk about a state district judge, they make close to $200,000. So whenever these people sign up to run for these positions, best believe we are going to scrutinize and we are going to lift up every rock and ask those tough questions. We want to know their platform. We want to know what they believe in. We want to know about their experience. We ultimately want to know why they feel they are the best candidate moving forward. We would be lying to you. We would be providing an injustice to you, the viewer, if we didn't ask these tough questions. I consider myself friendly with a few of these people on here, but at the end of the day, whenever we talk about politics, politics is business. That's the way I see it. That's the way I hope you see it. Candidates running for this office, for this position, they are talking about reform. They are talking about change. And many people say that change is good. Others, on the other hand, say the more things change, the more they stay the same. Ultimately, what is happening right now currently is that these people are vying for your vote. And what we've seen from this picture is an alignment. This is the ticket. While these politicians, they may not want to admit it, behind closed doors, they're asking you to vote for these three candidates, these two candidates in the middle. The alignment of Port Commissioner Steve Guerra, judicial candidate for the 107th District Court, Aaron Hernandez Garcia, Cameron County candidate Eric Garza. They have raised questions, accusations of deception, of even corruption, hangs over them like a storm cloud. Whispers of backroom deals, selective enforcement, and justice that seems to favor the connected over the community. Now, whether these allegations are true or not, whether they're proven true or not, ultimately, what this leads to believe and has many residents wondering is, will Cameron County be up for sale? Whenever we talk about politics, whenever we talk about the Rio Grande Valley, a lot is at stake. A lot is on the line, not just for us constituents, not just for us voters, but for the politicians themselves. They spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, on these races moving forward. What we have seen has been how the area here in Cameron County, it has been plagued, unfortunately, with accusations, allegations of corruption. Voter harvesting is something that is prevalent. People, unfortunately, take advantage of the illiterate, take advantage of those that possibly are impaired mentally, of the elderly. When we talk about the history of Cameron County, what have we seen? We have seen how these políticos, they get these politiqueros to do the dirty work for them. This isn't something new. This goes back decades. It is only new for us because it's only been recently that Governor Abbott, that the three-letter agencies, that the Attorney General have been more focused on voter fraud. Haven't you noticed that now it has been a bigger issue than before? Because whenever we hear about elections being rigged, and this isn't something that that is just a Cameron County issue. Heck, if you are a believer in January 6th, if you are a believer in the election being rigged, states such as Georgia come to mind, where on election day, the news agencies, they were predicting that President Trump won Georgia, only for a few hours to come back and say, "Oh no, it's Biden that won Georgia." So this isn't a Valley issue. For the sake of today's program, we will be focusing on the state of Texas and here Cameron County, because voter fraud is something that is very real. Governor Abbott, just last year, he talked about how Texas removed 6,500 non-citizens from his voter rolls. Now, was this an accurate number? There's talks there's talks that even the dead vote. Now, it sounds crazy, right? It sounds something like, I don't know, I don't believe it. It sounds far-fetched. It sounds like a movie. But it's true. If you think, ladies and gentlemen, that voter fraud, that the politicos aren't alive and well here in Cameron County, you are mistaken. Because this is one of the oldest tricks in the book. Remember, a lot is on the line for these politicians. They will lie, they will cheat, they will steal, they will do anything to get themselves into office. Politiqueras here in Cameron County have been arrested, have been charged with voter fraud. The mail-in ballots is something very big, and we're going to talk about someone such as Erin Hernandez Garcia in the very near future, because if you follow her election results, those numbers are inflated. History has shown, data has shown us that the Hernandezes, whether the father, who was the former Cameron County Precinct 2 commissioner, and the current candidate for the 107th Judicial District Court, both have had inflated mail-in ballots. Now, is there anything wrong with people voting through the mail? No, absolutely not. But whenever you look at the big picture, you start to question and say, are these people that are actually voting? Do they know that they're voting by mail? Do they even exist? To be fair, the individuals have not been charged with anything, but they have been investigated. Now, I understand that being charged and being investigated is totally different things, right? And I don't want you to think that just because someone is investigated, they are guilty. That's not the case. But as they say, where there's smoke, there's fire. What we have seen from individuals such as Erin Hernandez Garcia and Abel Gomez is that they have consistently found themselves embroiled in allegations of voter fraud. allegations of abusing the rights, the voting rights of the elderly, of the mentally impaired, of illiterate to gain and remain in elected office. I saw this. Maybe I could find it, or maybe I'll hold off on it because, again, I have 2 months to talk about these things, and I don't want to throw everything in the kitchen sink the first week, right? You gotta. It's like my friend in Corpus. He said, "Hey, you gotta save your ammo, bro. You gotta save your ammo." There is no question that allegations of voter fraud of Abel Gomez and Aaron Hernandez Garcia have been scrutinized. They are put under a microscope, even more so now, because they have used politiqueras that have been charged. It is said that the individual that I just showed you previously worked for Abel Gomez. Now you would think, why did these people talk? Why did they get charged and just because ultimately, whenever you talk about a politiquera, do they benefit from this? Yes and no. They get money, they get paid, but ultimately, who's the one that benefits? It's the candidate. They possibly pay a third party and they say, hey, make it happen. I don't want to know. Here's the money. I don't want to know how this happens. Just make it happen. What's even worse about what's even worse than voter fraud is cash for court favors. And this is a very delicate topic, ladies and gentlemen, because I understand that if I accuse someone, especially a judge, of this without any proof, I am susceptible, I am liable to being sued for defamation. And I'm very careful about what I say. Again, have people accused us of misinformation, of lying, of being inaccurate, of suing us? Yes. And I've been accused and I've been threatened with my life numerous times, at least 3 that I know of. I don't say it for pity. I've been threatened with lawsuits at least twice, maybe 3 times that I know of that they've told me. Have they sued me? No. I have a big responsibility to you and also to myself. Who wants to get sued? Again, what are they going to take? I got $7.63 in my bank account. They could take it. I'm very careful about what I post and what I talk about because if not, they'll sue me. And nobody wants to be in litigation. Nobody wants to be in court, right? But these are accusations, allegations that have been raised by other people. Whenever we talk about a state district judge, what's the history in Cameron County? Who could forget Abel Limas? Abel Limas was known to be on the take. He received 72 months in prison for taking bribes. He ultimately was the star witness in the Mark Rosenthal trial, in the Armando Villalobos trial. Because of Abel Limas, I would dare say anywhere from 8 to 10 individuals were incarcerated, were charged. There is someone in the Republican Party candidate that has been accused of having someone on his staff with voter fraud. All you have to do is Google his name. Barbie, don't make it so hard on me. Tell me, Barbie. Message me, Barbie. And speaking of county judges, Mauro Garza, oh my goodness, what are you doing? Someone sent me a picture of him endorsing Ms. Barbie opponent. I'm sorry, in the GOP Cameron County Precinct 2 commissioner race. And when they sent it to me, I was like, "What the heck is?" Let me show you. I was like, "What the heck is Mauro Garza doing endorsing a candidate?" Hold on, give me a second. I wasn't going to talk about it, but since you brought it up, Barbie, let me see. Now again, are candidates able to endorse some? Not if you are a judge on the bench, but why is Mauro Garza, who is a candidate in November? Again, he could do what he wishes. Who's advising him? Jeez, I don't know. Mauro, get your money back if you were advised to do this by your people, because, geez, this is a dumb move, Mauro. Dumb move. Mauro Garza posted a picture of Barbie's opponent. And I'm not just saying this because Barbie's here. I'm saying this because it's a stupid move. It's a dumb move. Let's just say hypothetically. Mauro Garza was tied to voter fraud. Ooh, I'm sure Steve Guerra, I'm sure Judge Eddie Trevino, I'm sure Eddie Garza would like to know more about this. But who the hell is advising Mauro Garza? Mauro, keep your mouth quiet. Kiss babies. Wave at people. Why are you endorsing a candidate within your own party? Don't do that. That's not smart. Endorse them after the primary, not before the primary, because guess what? Barbie's people are not going to support you, Mauro. They'll think twice about it. But again, back to our program. When I saw that, I was like, "Oh my goodness! I hope you're lying to me." And they said, "No, here's a picture." I said, "Oh my goodness." Jesse, hermano, que Dios te bendiga siempre. Gracias, amigo. Espero que has tenido un maravilloso año nuevo y espero verte pronto, amigo. Ya tenemos rato que no nos hemos visto. Te mando saludos y mucho éxito para este año 26, para ti, para toda tu familia. Se te agradece tu amistad. Tú eres alguien que he conocido por más de 20 años. Se te aprecia, carnal, y gracias por el apoyo. Aquí estamos a la orden, brother. Que tengas un lindo día, bro. Where were we at before we got sidetracked? Again, so I'm very careful about what I talk about. But these are allegations that have been made against Erin Hernandez Garcia. We talked about voter fraud, but just as bad as voter fraud, there's allegations of her office when she was Justice of the Peace, when she was a judge, of being a cash for court judge. In 2014, then Justice of the Peace, Erin Hernandez Garcia, was accused by a plaintiff in an open court hearing that he was expecting a favorable ruling from her because he had paid a staffer money. Now, is this something to where there was a disagreement between the plaintiff, the person making these accusations, and the staff member? Maybe. Did the judge know about this? Because whenever it didn't go the way the plaintiff, the person that made the accusation, he got mad and he said, "Hey, I paid money for a ruling. What the heck is going on?" The weird thing about this is the weird thing about this is, why didn't Aaron Hernandez on the bench hearing this say, whoa, what is going on? What are you saying, sir? Are you accusing me of being on the take? And look, if a state district judge is accused of something, it's a big deal. Well, if any judge, not just a state district judge, Aaron Hernandez was a JP. Now she's running for a state district judge. But this is a big deal because Lady Liberty is impartial. It doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor, black or white. It's based on the facts. And we'd like to think that our judicial system is based off of that, right? That the judge is going to rule impartially based on facts and not based on a relationship with an attorney, not based on being corrupt, not based on being on the take, right? But in open court, someone said, hey, I paid for a ruling. What is going on? Why didn't the judge at that time, Aaron Hernandez Garcia, why didn't she stop and say, whoa, these are serious allegations? You know what? Abel Gomez is right down the hall, was right down the hall from Judge Garcia. Why didn't she say, I'm going to call a law enforcement officer to make a report? I'm going to pass this information to the district attorney's office because these are serious allegations. Now, did that happen? Possibly. People in the know said that never happened. She acted like she didn't hear anything. Again, if a judge is being accused, if her office is being accused of being on the take, it's very serious. Very serious matter. And now, this same individual, the same person that was accused, for the record, wasn't charged, but accused of having a court for cash favors, is now running for an even bigger job with even greater responsibilities. We're individuals that commit murder, robbery, theft, domestic violence. Now she's running for an even bigger job. Again, this is nothing personal. This is business. If you as a voter think, nothing wrong with that, I'm going to vote for whoever I want, adelante. But our politicians should not be up for sale. Maybe you're okay with that. I'm not. Is Cameron County up for sale? Is Aaron Hernandez Garcia up for sale if she wins? There were allegations as well that Abel Gomez, the Precinct 2 constable, was a middleman to ensure court rulings for a known associate of the underworld. Aaron Hernandez Garcia has been accused of accepting favors and rulings in ways that benefits political allies rather than upholding the law. Ultimately, what this does is it erodes public trust in the court systems. Cameron County has already been dragged through the mud. Do you want to continue to elect candidates with question marks? If that's what you want, go right ahead. Go right ahead. Steve Guerra, the Port of Brownsville chairman, he has come under scrutiny for allegedly consolidating near total control over the Port of Brownsville operations. According to insiders, what we have seen has been that he and his colleagues on that commission have been ruling, have been controlling that with an iron fist. And look, we use, or I'll speak for myself, I like to use someone such as Juan Montoya as a reference. Juan Montoya is a blogger, an investigative journalist that has kept the citizens of Brownsville, Cameron County, informed for decades. And if you don't follow him, I encourage you to do so. Now, I'm not here to say that Juan Montoya is accurate 1,000%. No, we're human. Do things get lost in translation? Possibly. Is he being biased in his reporting? Some have stated that. What we have seen at the port has been that Steve Guerra has been accused of ruling with an iron fist. That people, according to insiders, a small group of beneficiaries, mainly from Matamoros, with business interests, they have been reaping disproportionate profits. Is this true? I'm just telling you what the word on the street is. There was a former Port of Brownsville candidate, Beto Torres, that did allege that he was forced out. Now, again, it's kind of tricky whenever you have these Port of Brownsville commissioners and they have business at the port. I always find that very weird. It's, how can you be impartial? You're always going to look out for your best interests. It's a tricky thing. But Beto Torres was alleging that after the elections, he was forced out. He was denied. Everyone else's request was granted, but not his. Now, there are allegations of him not running a tight ship, of him not having the insurance, him not providing his workers, of him, we can talk about this, we can talk about that. I'm just telling you what the word on the street is. When we talk about Steve Guerra, I would like to know what his platform is. Is this a race to where Steve Guerra is just going to sit back and he's going to let the blogs? There's this Valley News page that is going to be popping up, and it has been already, going to be popping up and targeting Cameron County Judge Eddie Trevino. And they're going to bash him. And I'm sure he knows. I'm sure his people are already aware of that. But as a candidate, I would like to know Steve Guerra's platform. What does he envision for Cameron County for the next 10 years? Is he pro SpaceX? Is he pro LNG? What I think is going to happen, and again, this is my opinion, I think Steve Guerra and Eddie Garza, Eddie Garza, I think he semi-quasi posted his platform. I think Steve Guerra is just going to sit back. He's depending on someone such as Abel Gomez to get him across the finish line. Remember, with all due respect, Steve Guerra has only won a race with 2,700 votes. Is he anticipating that the backlash of Eddie Trevino is going to be enough? That the support of Abel Gomez, who has been embroiled, that has been accused of very serious allegations of voter fraud, Abel Gomez has been accused of being the middleman between a known associate of the underworld. Is that who Steve Guerra is banking on? Again, once people sign up for these positions, we as candidates, we have to scrutinize. They are put under a microscope. We want to know what your plans are for Cameron County. We hope that as we get closer to early voting, he will lay out his platform. As of right now, all we see is the Port of Brownsville, the commercial that he's promoting, that he's paying Facebook for, the advertisement. That's it. We hope that through time, we will get to know more about Steve Guerra's platform, because as of right now, people are asking, is Cameron County for sale? Insiders within the port are saying Steve Guerra is using his position along with Ernesto Gutierrez and others to benefit people from Matamoros. I'm just repeating what people say. Don't shoot the messenger. Is that true? Now, maybe Beto Torres is just saying that because he's mad that he lost and he's trying to throw mud at Steve and Neto Gutierrez. Maybe. But many people are asking, is the Port of Brownsville for sale? And are people from Matamoros benefiting from the Port of Brownsville? And now they have their eyes set on Cameron County. What you're going to hear from this platform from here till Election Day is we're going to answer your questions. We're going to talk about things that we've been hearing throughout the county. They are statements that have been made. Judge Eddie Trevino gave away Boca Chica Beach. That's not true. As a commissioner, as a judge, and the county, the commissioners with the county judge, they have no authority to give away a beach to someone, to no one. They have no right, no power to do so. You know who does? Austin. Austin controls the beaches. Yes, the county judge is able to close and open the county beaches, but for the most part, Austin is the one that dictates. And what did we see back in 2013, 2014? Senator and Representative Eddie Lucios with Representative David Oliveira, God bless his soul, are partially to blame for this back 13, 14 years ago for giving away Boca Chica Beach. And today, if you want to talk about today's leadership, who do we need to blame? South Texas County leaders will lose some authority over SpaceX under new bills. Who passed the bill? Adam Hinojosa, our senator, Adam Hinojosa. So from here till Election Day, from here till early voting, we have quite a task on our hands. We're going to talk about those things that have been thrown out there, possibly by Eddie Garza, by Steve Guerra's people, because they want this notion of smear campaign. And we're going to elaborate on those issues. So be prepared that we're going to talk about who gave away Boca Chica Beach. Was it Eddie Trevino? No. It was who I mentioned. And today it was Senator Adam Hinojosa. We're going to talk about Tenaska. That's going to be a very interesting topic. Did Judge Eddie Trevino steal from the people? No. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the raises that the Cameron County officials made. And people are saying, why are you defending County Judge Eddie Trevino? For those that are aware, we have been very critical of County Judge Eddie Trevino. He does not need me to defend him. He is a litigator. He does that by trade. Our purpose before you is to bring awareness. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. We're going to stay away from the gray area. We're going to give it to you in black and white. You ultimately will decide how you feel on this issue. As Cameron County continues to grapple with entrenched corruption, the question remains, can these reformers, will they be what's best for Cameron County? Are these the people that we need moving forward? That's something that you're going to have to decide. Because while some candidates promise change, the shadow of past and ongoing scandals, they loom large. Ultimately, this leaves many residents disillusioned and weary of those asking for their vote. The alignment of people such as Steve Guerra, Abel Gomez, Aaron Hernandez Garcia, and Eric Garza causes many people to remember the phrase, dime, ¿con quién andas? Y te diré quién eres. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel titled Frankie Olivo TV. Best believe we'll come on Monday through Friday religiously. So make sure you subscribe to our channel. We will not be silenced. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time and your attention. Happy Tuesday, last cheat day, January the 6th. Hope to see you here tomorrow, bright and early. We will be talking about what's most important to you and I. My name is Frankie Olivo, and this is Good Morning Brownsville. Peace! Ooh.